Well, good evening, everyone. It's Pete Yapel, host of the Voluntary Option. Yes, it's not my normal night. My normal night's normally Wednesday, but I was tied up yesterday, and another podcaster from our free speech media network has a previous obligation and can't make it here tonight, but that's okay. We always all have something to say, something important, something valuable, something that you could really wrap your head around rather than scratch your head. And that's, pretty much with me, it's common sense. Um, we have a very huge lack of it when it comes to understanding rights, freedom, uh, and just basic human needs. They're not even wants that we have to fight for continually, um, each and every single day of our lives. I'm trying to run everything here tonight myself. I truly miss my producer, Jim Freedom. I wish Jim the best. Jim's doing a great job on Adam versus the Man. And if you ever have the time, please watch Adam weekly. But free speech media is been running rampant. They were just at the LPPA, which is the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania's convention, where they did a documentary, and they had some great speakers there. And I was hoping to have some of the people on that were at it and attended, but it's just everybody's kind of busy tonight. It's cool. This was a last minute show by me, but tonight we'll do some pot and politics because I always smoke pot, no matter where I am. It doesn't matter to me. It's a freedom that I should be able to possess, as it grants me, homeostasis, brings me closer to homeostasis. Another quick thing I want to bring up is my wife and I do a show normally Tuesday nights on free speech media that has been absent for about a month and a half because we've really been trying to revamp it and figure it out. And what we did and came up with is, because I do this show, The Voluntary Option, and for those of you who do not know me in a sense other than just hearing me on here complain about government and how we can change it and how we can live a better life, I was a cannabis activist for years, decades, done everything in the realm of activism, from court support to speaking at the United Nations. I've done it all when it's come to activism. But and I love every one of you. I love all of my activist friends. I really, truly do. I just want to point out that we really never get nothing done. We talk amongst each other. We complain. We agree, and we bow down to policy that we write, and then they bastardize, and we're okay with it because we'll get another crumb. And I'm tired of getting crumbs, folks. I'm tired of it. There is absolutely zero harm, wrong, or anything when it comes to this plan. There really is. Listen, I probably got more pot on my floor, like from just rolling and cleaning, than most people own bags. And that's not bragging. That's just saying you as a human being have that right to possess cannabis, use cannabis. I don't care what government tries to tell you you can't. You do not have an endocannabinoid system you have an endocannabinoid system for a reason. But getting back to it, my wife's show, Can We Talk 420, which is our brand, first of all. If you want to, please visit us at canwetalk420.com. It's a small O. I'll put up a banner. I think I got one anyway with it on there. And Can We Talk has always been about the people, has always been about rights and freedom. And our belief is that, if we do not end prohibition, it is only contributing to human genocide. Literally, we will all eventually die off if we cannot keep up the cannabinoids in our body, and we can't do that on our own. We need to replenish them. It's like with anything. You got to drink water. You got to eat food, folks. But I'm not going to beat my head about it. But I left the activist community. Well, I shouldn't say I left the activist community. I stopped working as hard in the activist community as I did, because I realized the only place we're ever going to make these changes, and the only way we're ever going to find freedom of this plant, the only way that this substance will ever be in the hands of anybody that wants to do without having to worry about having their door kicked down, their people ripped out of their homes, thrown into the road by SWAT teams, and having their rights completely violated, having all their possessions taken from them, and all over a planet. Okay, so we have to do it. We have to do it in this realm. The only way that that happens is if we deschedule, decriminalize, and deregulate. I get that. But if you end prohibition, you do all of that. If you end prohibition, you do all of that. The people say, oh, well, you end prohibition, blah, blah, blah. People can still go to markets. People can still sell their product. Hell, our line has launched now here in Seligman, Arizona. Well, not launched, but is now in a retail store here at the historic Route 66 General Store on Route 66 in Seligman, Arizona. Shameless plug, but damn well worth it. We carry everything that we carry on our website in that store, except for Delta 8. Right now, there's been this big thing now that since the Farm Bill, they kind of shot themselves in the foot by allowing Delta 8 to be freely, used, transmitted between people and whatever else. But now states are saying, no, you can't have Delta 8 unless you buy it at a dispensary. And why? Because they want you in their dispensary. They don't want free market. They do not want people to be able to earn a living. And they don't want people to be able to treat properly. And Delta 8 is an incredible cannabinoid. If you people haven't discovered it, I'm telling you, it's working wonders on me and a lot of people. I have everything from heroin addicts to people that are just suffering from anxiety and depression and such. And it's working wonders for them. It's truly working wonders for them. Not vape cartridges, folks. Stay away from them. You get 1/5 of a gram of freaking of concentrate in a gram cartridge, and you're smoking 4 grams of a binder or a sugar or a glycerin or something like that. Come on, man. Why spend $30 on a cartridge when you can spend $30 on a gram of straight concentrate? Either put it in your tea, put it in your food, make edibles, smoke it, dab it, just like you would dab Delta 9 or any other dab or shatter. But bringing our two shows together, Canada We Talk 420, expressing my wife and my passion for freeing the cannabis plant, along with the political views and such that we all share and should all share of a free society. And I believe in a voluntary society. If you agree to something, fine, then you're bound. If you don't agree to something and laws are just made for you, I don't agree with that at all. We aren't all the same people. We all fall under different umbrellas, financially, spiritually, culturally. There's nothing that is the same about any of us. I'm on my show in the next few weeks. I have to apologize first to Nicholas Wildstar. 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to have him on. And I really have a struggle with internet here off grid because it's all satellite. And as the month goes on, everything gets taken, the data gets taken and stuff slows down. And I'm lucky to even get a show on the air out here, in the middle of the high desert of Arizona. But I want to apologize to Nick first for not having him on. But I do want to bring back on some guests that I've had on previously on my show. And one of them is Serene Ardolinu. And if you do not know Serene Ardolinu, you please look her up. She's a wonderful human being. And that's first and foremost what matters to me, is that people do what they say and they say what they do. And they are, and they live the part that they are. They're not actors in a play like all politicians seem to be at times. Like case in point, all you people that are jumping up and down. Now, if you're a cannabis activist, let me first of all put it to you this way. I don't work directly in the industry as much as I used to. I still do. I still write letters to prisoners. I still support them. I still post stuff on my page. I do all those simple things. But my life doesn't revolve and isn't 24/7 out there sitting in front of, senators across from Decimal. It's not going to work that way. I have to be, and you have to be in those positions. Case in point, everybody, if you're a cannabis activist and you voted anything other than libertarian, you do not want to end the drug war. You want to keep people in prison. You do not want people to freely be able to treat or put into their body what they choose and as they choose. And I don't care what that substance is. If you're a grown adult, You make a conscious decision to put that in your system. You're taking that responsibility on yourself. We can't blame anybody else, and it shouldn't be a defensible thing because you own your body. Look at the amendments. The 10th Amendment, I believe, exactly states that they can't tell us what we can put into our body and what we can't. And if I'm wrong on that amendment, sorry, the number on it, but I'm quite sure it's the 10th. But we can put into our bodies what we choose to put into our bodies, and no one can say a thing about it. No one. Or shouldn't be able to. But our government has grown to the point, as the Roman government did, as it started out as a democracy, and it's becoming very imperial, if you don't understand. Pretty soon we'll have families that just run everything, and we'll be back to the system of rule and oppression and this horrible socialistic idea of that the government knows better than you know about yourself, and that the government can answer better for you than you can for yourself. We have 365 million people approximately in the United States of America. And of those 365 million, there are no two the same, including identical twins. I don't care. They might have the same genetics. They think differently, and they're going to have a different taste someday than others and whatever else. We're all individual. So we cannot rely on blanketed law to rule. We cannot. That is why tonight is another important night of the voluntary option and message from Pete Yapel, your host. I will be running for office in the state of Arizona. I truly was going to seek out a county position where I could help out with assessing and zoning and stuff like that. But I really truly believe that I and you, every single one of us Americans, can make a difference at a higher place. I think I'm going to start looking at some state positions if they're running here, when they're running here, if I believe I have a fair shot at least spreading the word of liberty, making people understand that whoever they elect, whether it's me or somebody else, that it's their responsibility to carry out what we, the people, have in common or decided within our areas. Okay. Sad story. Mississippi. If you're not aware of Mississippi, and Prop 65, I believe it, 65 it was, which is an amendment to the Constitution voted by the people, has now been voted null and void by the Supreme Court of the state. Let's think of that again. The people of the state, over 60% of the people in a state said, this is what we'd like to adapt into our constitutional law, not just anything, our Constitution, that we, the people, want access to cannabis. I have a doctor that's on our other podcast, Canada We Talk, which again will be soon, the voluntary option in Canada We Talk 420, that has Prop 77 that he had initiated, Initiative 77, in which he had Initiative 77, in which he had placed into part where doctors could start to study the plant, where we could remove federal restrictions and a Schedule 1 within the states, and each state should do this, not just Mississippi, until we get enough gumption and balls behind us to attack the government ourselves, which, gosh, all you got to do is look at your screen right now, and you see a man that was going to walk across the United States and do that. You know, have I done that? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because it got convoluted and screwed up, became a money-making proposition. It's not what it was about to me. It was about freedom of the plant and freedom that we supposedly are owed. Now, we need to have professionals studying the plant. And in my opinion, we need it for the backing for us to go to the government with our evidence, rather than just anecdotal evidence that, you know, I've watched people live since the 70s and 80s, you know, by switching and treating holistically. And now we're still alive. without any condition. Why? Because they've changed their diet. Most of them are vegan, you know, and most of them, you know, ingest cannabis in some way, shape, or form, and other nutraceuticals that are out there. Believe me, there are a ton of nutraceutical plants that grow outside your door, folks, that you don't need to go in search of. You really don't need to go in search of. They grow right on out there. Just do a little bit of research and be careful. That's all I got to say. Listen, anything too much of anything is a bad thing. But too much of anything, I don't give a shit. People can argue with me on that. Too much of anything is a bad thing. Now, let's get to where I would stand. I would stand if I go towards running an accounting position to help out with zoning and such, is that you own this property. I mean, you truly own this property. You shouldn't have to pay permission to do things on your property within reason. Within reason. In cities and suburbs where you're populated, yes, you need to worry about your neighbor, and you can't just have John, Smith come and, start running bare wires all over your home. And, in cases like that, I don't care. It shouldn't have to cost you money, though. It shouldn't have to cost you money. You shouldn't have to pay for that permission. You shouldn't have to pay for a permit. You shouldn't have to, all them be say, who's going to pay the guy to come out and look? Well, the guy's going to come out and look. I mean, you pay enough other taxes here. I mean, I had to just register a vehicle. And that's something I'm completely against. And I did it for my wife. But I truly pissed me off that I drive on 15 miles of paved, maintained road. 15 miles of paved, maintained road. Paved, maintained road, not paid. Although it's probably been paid over 50,000 times. But I pay a tax to drive on that. I mean, that's what I pay. To register your vehicle. Why? Somebody knows whose it is. Oh, stop it. We all have titles. They all have serial numbers. There's a way to know who owns something. We don't need to have a special little identifier on there. Well, what if the cops pull you over? Well, they're pulling you over anyway. You don't think that they can find out your information? Please. In this world today, you can't do anything without your information being out there. Nothing. I mean, you're born, you got a birth certificate, then you got a social security card, then you get working papers, then you sign up for the draft. Or then you get a license, then you sign up for the draft. You are so documented. You got a bank account, you got a mailing address. They know where you are all the time. You got your bank card. Use it. They know where you are. How is that free? How is that not tracking and documenting? Come on, let's bring Snowden home and let's change things the way that they should be, where Americans can live here, take care of things, mind their own damn business, respect their own and respect their neighbor, and we could be perfectly fine. We do not need all of these taxes. We do not need all of this. We don't. You're going to say, well, then the government is 16 times, and that's being, 16 is probably, I would probably say 20 times fairly bigger than it ever needed to be. And there's probably another 20% more bigger than that. So we probably have 40% more government jobs and positions and yada, 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 yada that suck you dry, because they take your money out of your hard-earned paycheck. And what do they give you? Oh, roads and bridges. Do they? Just signed a $2 trillion infrastructure into the mix of debt that we accrue like it's nothing. Okay, $2 trillion, and in 20 years. The first spade or machine will start to actually do it. Two administrations, 10 years. So somebody signed $2 trillion in debt for a president that's 2 elections away to even start eating. And then when roads can't be built because there's no money left, because let's face it, there's going to be no money left. They're going to suck it all up and suck it dry before the roads are even built. What did you get for your $2 trillion, but $2 trillion of more taxable money that they have to take back? I don't know why it's not evident and obvious to everyone else. I don't know why it's not evident and obvious that money in general is a useless tool. Useless tool. We give it every bit of value. We give it every bit of value that it has. Hand a blind man $1 million bills, or hand him 5 different bills. He can't tell you which one's which. We would give something value. And why? Because we were told it was worth that. Now, is a $20 bill worth $20? No, $20 bill is probably worth about $7.08 right now. Or I don't know the math, but it ain't worth shit. It ain't worth 50% of the value of the number put on it. Yet, the whole entire world still revolves around that system of central banking. The whole entire world. I don't care if you got crypto. You ain't doing everything in crypto. You ain't paying your fucking mortgage and your electric bill. And it's not as widely accepted as people think or want it to be. Is it a good alternative? Absolutely. I think any alternative to having only one thing is good. Then you have choice. Then you can be a voluntary recipient and a voluntary person within it. Thus, let's talk about Adam Kokesh again really quick. Just real quick. In Gardenia and its independence coming up. You know, the Garden of Freedom in Gardenia will be its own country because the man's taken the steps to do it. Because the man cares and the man wants his freedom. And again, like you'll hear me say on this show every week, freedom does not come in a gift basket. You cannot hand freedom out. You can't even take freedom away. Freedom is self-earned. Freedom is something of self. My freedom is completely different than yours. I can guarantee you that. I'll guarantee you that nobody else was out today. Well, I'm sure maybe some people were out today mixing bags of cement by hand in a wheelbarrow to pour their floors in their bathrooms and fix their posts outside in 55-mile-an-hour wind, no less. Because that was my day. But that's my freedom. Do you understand how joyous it all was to me? I got the job done. It looks good. And progress is being made. And nobody could fucking tell me I could or couldn't do it. Now, there's tricks and ways to get around things. And we learn those things off grid that, you know, you can have a building 200 feet or 100 square feet or smaller. You know, you don't need a permit. You don't have to pay permission for that. But don't put a deck on your house. You know, especially if you live off grid in the fucking middle of nowhere. And you're going to hear me swear a lot when it comes to this. Because I shouldn't have to pay for an address for 911 to come to me. First of all, 911 very rarely ever comes out off grid. We have our own people here. We got a guy that's an EMT and a fireman. He lives down the road. When something goes wrong, he's the first call and he's there. Okay? But he don't need an address. He knows where you live. The county has an address for you anyway. You want to see something funny? I'll show you something really funny. My Arizona driver's license has my address on it. And I don't know if you guys can see that address, but that address is like 5 miles long and it ain't a street number. It ain't a street number and a street name. You know, it literally says northeast quadrant of southwest quadrant of southeast quadrant of section 2-1. That's my address. So they have an address for you. They know where you live, and they got that from my deed. Now, if I want a pretty little sign out in front of my house and pop a number on my house, it costs me $7,000. $7,000 for the state, county, and everybody else to recognize my physical address. Silly shit, but true. Now, can you get in trouble for not having one? I don't give a shit. This is my property. I paid for this. I own this. I rent it. You're right. I rent it because I do have to pay my taxes every year. But that's something else we're trying to eliminate. This silly shit of paying the government to own something. And if you stop paying them, you stop owning it. How does that make sense to any logical human being? If that makes sense to you, please tell me. Please tell me why No comments. Didn't think so. There is no reason to be taxed for the property you own. You paid for it. It's yours. Isn't that part of the American dream? Or is the part of the American dream to have what you want as long as you're renting it or paying the government to have permission to have it, own it, or be a part of it? That's where we have a problem in America, folks. We have given our government the right of way to do everything that we set out to get away from. And we're giving them back that power daily, by the minute, by wearing masks, by mandating, by, closing our businesses, by shrinking the size of the establishment of people we could fit in it comfortably. Comfortably to them. And it's silly. The vaccinated against the unvaccinated. It's just another way. If you don't understand how you are pitted against each other, the black against the white, the black against the white against everything, I guess it is, or the everything against white, the everything against the homosexual, transgender, the whole LGBTQ, GGQ, LMNOPQRST. I love you all. It doesn't matter to me, and it shouldn't matter to you, and it definitely, no way, shape, or form is the government's business. Think of all the ways that you're violated constantly. What's your sex? You don't have to. Why does somebody fucking have to know what you are? Whether you're a man or a woman. Why do they need to know your date of birth? They can ask you how old you are. Why do they need to know your fucking name for that matter? You're no different no matter what your situation, whether you're ill, looking for some whatever else. You could be John Jacob fucking Jingleheimer Schmidt. It don't matter. It's still you at the end of the day. People worry about documented or undocumented people coming across the border. Well, Christ almighty, who doesn't want to live in freedom? And if you're in Mexico, you should be coming back here anyway, because we stole a lot of this land from you anyway. We as Americans seem to forget that we weren't born here, and weren't given this by God, this land. We weren't given this land by an entity or a supernatural power or Jesus himself. We weren't. We stole this shit. We fucking hurt people. I live around reservation after reservation after reservation. I got the Mojave, I got the Wallapai, I got the Navajo, I got the Apache. I've got them all around me, all everywhere. Okay? They're hurted. I tell you, yeah, you're entering the Wallapai Nation. 15 miles later down 66, you're leaving it. Oh, wasn't that gracious of us? What did we give them, 15 square miles of fucking property after stealing their whole fucking country? What do we do to people in Mexico? Oh, stay the fuck down there. You weren't better. We're better than you. You're filled with nothing but rapists and murderers and thieves and this. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. Some of the most beautiful people I've ever met are from Mexico or have family there still. What does it matter? Well, if you come across the border, we got to know who you are. Why? Why do you have to know who somebody is if you catch them doing something wrong? You caught them doing something wrong. If that's what it's all about. If that's what it's all about, a way to find out who someone is so you can punish them for not obeying you. Do we need a government? Yeah, I believe so. I believe that the role that they play is absolutely distorted and wrong. They should be great bookkeepers, keeping the books, keeping everything in line, making sure everybody's fucking taken care of, making sure we're not being attacked. That's why we need a military, folks, not to go to anywhere else. I'm not going to mention countries because we're in so many of them shooting and killing innocent people, destroying our young boys and women's and older men and women's lives and minds, where they come back and they see all this shit and they're forced to do things that they would never, ever do under normal circumstances. How many people just want to go around shooting people and killing people and launching bombs into buildings? Who wants to do that? For poppy and fucking oil and fat men in suits? Because that's all you're at war for. You need a defense. A defense. It's called the Defense Department, not the Offense Department. Yet we convolute this and twist this too often. You know, we need a military to protect us, If any foreign land came here to try to blow us up, yes. But why do we have to be elsewhere to do that? We're almost unreachable. But not anymore, because now we have space shit going on. That always amazes me, man. It was cool to see Musk's stuff go by in the sky, though. You know what I mean? Like the things you see. But then it's disturbing when you got Chinese rockets just falling out of the fucking, falling out of there. You know, where it might land, who the fuck knows? We haven't pigsties up our planet enough. I guess we decided we have to pigsty up space now. And just leave all sorts of junk. You know how much junk is out there floating around that we've shot up there and it is useless? Fuck it. Right? Fuck it. Who cares? How come I can't make a cell phone call anywhere in the United States without interruption, but I can see video from Mars? How the fuck is that? How the fuck do I drop calls, yet I can watch video of a fucking machine flying around Mars? Another question. I don't know. Maybe it's never crossed your fucking mind, but it kind of crosses mine all the time. We had a really cool thing. We opened up our property to hip camp and to boondockers and tenters and harvest host, so people can stay, man. We traveled. Everybody that knows us, we've been on the road since 2016, and my wife, we finally planted our asses here in Arizona, where I feel is probably the freest state that I've been to in the whole country. And again, why I want to run here. You know, I want to make a difference in the state, but I really care about my community more than anything. You know, Seligman, Arizona has become home to me. The Pope family in general. I mean, they own a lot of Seligman, and there is nothing I wouldn't do for them. They know that. They could call me right now and ask me something. I'd jump out of this chair and say, sorry, guys, I got to stop my podcast. Because that's the kind of community we have here. Very volunteeristic. We had a friend of ours, Jen, come up from down around the Phoenix area to our Seligman Day. And she was so impressed with the liberty that's here, man. And people, are registered Republican and such because they don't know better. They don't. But I'm starting to hold meetings now here. Our monthly LP meeting, I'm going to have zoomed in or something in my location because I know there's so many people that want this and can understand and can get value from understanding that the duopoly and the two-party system in which we have all in our entire lives lived under has done nothing but fail us. It is time for us to make a change. It is time for us to get great people in office. Now, there's big waves going on out there right now about Dave Smith, okay? I'd like to have Dave on my show. I hope Dave does join me someday where we can just sit down and bullshit. Because listen, I want to know somebody. I don't want them to get on and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to. That's good. I want to know what you're going to do. First of all, I'm going to look at what you've done. And if you haven't done a fucking thing, don't tell me that you're going to do anything. Or if you've done the opposite, like Kamala Harris, whatever the fuck her name is, and her, and we're going to stop, everybody's going to have legal cannabis. She's so full of shit. She's throwing more people in jail for cannabis than anybody else that's ever been in office, and for longer amounts of times, and of her own people, if we have to play the separatist game. It's one thing that we don't have in my house. When you walk in my house, you are fucking transparent. You're transparent, and we expect you to act accordingly. That's all. I don't see, a heterosexual man. I don't see a black guy. I don't see a lesbian female when they come in my home. I don't see those things. I see a fucking human that's no different than me. None. Living their freedom, doing what they need to do to make themselves happy. There isn't a freaking human being in this world that can say they asked to come here, unless they can remember their, the life they had before this and the conversation that led before their conception. Okay. There's no one that's asked to come here. So we're all here by whatever, whether you wanted to be or not, you're an earthling. So why make it hard? Why make it hard on people just to live and enjoy themselves and not have to bleed for entertainment? Not have to bleed to worry about buying something extra or obtaining something extra to bring them some pleasure or even delight in eating or whatever else, I hear so much, I hear so much chatter, about like, I kind of just lost my thoughts. Sorry. I truly had a message come across from Roger Sanchez. Thank you, Roger, for totally giving me a brain fart during the middle of that right there, brother. But I love you, man. You know I do. And Roger's another great guy. We have some awesome podcasters, man, that are on Free Speech Media. If you guys haven't liked the page, Facebook page, please look it up. Free Speech Media. There are tons of guys on there that I love. David Fite, Harrison Kemp, DL's on there, Cummings, Roger Sanchez, Emmanuel Torres. The list goes on. There's a lot, and I'm not trying to exclude any of you guys, but that's just through normal chats that I see and who's on there. But I mean, like guys that are active, guys that are doing things. Maine, man, I'm excited. I just wish Maine was warm. I'd move there and hang out with these guys. I mean, these guys are freedom fighters, liberty fighters. They live the same. It's a localized community in which I could live in. You understand? And the more of these we set up around the country, folks, the better it is. It's going to better it's going to be for you to experience freedom, for you to experience life. Dana Bland, I want to tell you I love you, and I know you've been commenting the whole time. And I will read through them. I'm just a bit distracted. Well, not distracted, trying to concentrate a bit today. But you always have great comments, man, and I'm always glad that you're following us and sharing us around. Listen, we've met. Dana's an activist I met on the road. We used to belong to the same organization, and Dana still belongs to it. But the people I've met, and I can say this unequivocally, there are more people that think like we do than don't. What I also will say is there are more of us that are afraid, don't know what to do, walk around without a home. But across the bottom of your screen, this whole show, it expresses right where you can fit in your thoughts, your values, your cultural thoughts, your spiritual thoughts. Your thoughts on immigration, your thoughts on drugs, your thoughts on war, your thoughts on taxation, your thoughts on healthcare. All of these things, the Libertarian Party is very, very versed and has answers and solutions to. Solutions. Just go and do yourself a favor. It literally will take you. It shouldn't take you more than maybe a minute and a half at the very most to go to the lp.org. Read our principles. Read what we stand for. Read what we're about. And tell me you don't agree. If you don't, then God bless you, and stick with those R's and D's, guys, because they'll take you there. You don't need to do nothing. You just sit back. Don't work. Don't go back to work because unemployment pays better or just pays just even a little bit less and you're supplementing some other way, but you don't have to do a fucking thing. Don't do it. The government will pay for it. And by the government, I mean us and you yourself. The government doesn't have money. We are the government's money in the standing society. So go ahead. Rip yourself off. Rip me off, everybody else off. Don't think I'm going to be happy about it. Don't think everybody else is going to be happy about it. You know, the days of handouts, they have to stop. Now, there's times where people need help. Agreed. Communities do things better. Communities do things better. A community cares about the people that live there more than the government ever will. Do you think that the guy sitting in Washington, D.C. gives a fucking rat's ass whether I eat tomorrow? Big ups to Spike Cohen. Let me give Spike a shout out. Spike posted the other day an article about a gentleman, a young man that he met in Tennessee that owns a pizza truck. Pizza truck. That's his living. He's the fucking best businessman I ever met in my life. And when I go through there, I will hunt him down and go to his place because it's the right thing to do. And I'll tell you why now. Listen to the story. The kid, you pay what you can. Like if you need pizza and you want a pie and you got $3, you pay $3. If you don't have anything, you eat. You still don't have to pay because you can't afford to. But if you can afford to pay 10, you pay 10. If you afford to pay 15 for the pie, you do. And it's sustainable. He doesn't just have moochers out there. He feeds people that need help. He's doing what his community needs done. He's working with them. That's America. That's America, motherfuckers. That's freedom, and that's localization. That's a voluntary community. That's how we all should be living. We should all be helping each other. That's somebody that did it better than the government. That's somebody that did it better than the government. That the government only has one interest. Government. It goes no further than that. It doesn't extend to you. It doesn't extend to a few. It goes no further than them. That's where their interest lies. Completely against everything I think that was written that hangs on my wall. Completely against it. You know, and I find it funny, and I'll bring up, you know, listen, I'm evolving constantly, as I think we all should. And I think the more I think about it, the more I get pissed the fuck off. I guess that's the best way to put it. But we have everything we need to make this place right. Okay. Now, we even have a document that outlines some really great freedoms that people should have. Now, again, do I believe they should have to be written? No, because again, I believe that if you're an adult, you're respectful, and you got any kind of common sense, most of what our Constitution of the United States is that. Okay. Now, if we need, and for some reason I think we all need, a set of guidelines and rules to follow, then we need to follow them. And we need the government to follow them, because they're the biggest fucking bastardization of it to begin with. So the more I look at the document on the wall, the more I sit back and go, really, is it worth a fucking thing? Is the Constitution of the United States at this point in time in our history worth a fucking, the hemp it's written on? Is it? I don't know if it is, because again, like I say, if we take it at the value of what's written, yeah, it's a fucking beautiful document that, you know, is right on, man, fucking far out. We can take this to where we want to take it. So we live respectfully. I ain't gonna bother you. Mind your own fucking business. You know, go about your stuff. I'll go about mine. You know, let's be productive. Yeah, we can. Can we own, obtain, have entrepreneurship? We have all these things, have the right to own property, not rent it from our government. If we had all these things, and we had all of these things, wouldn't it be okay? Yeah, but the paper doesn't that we don't live by the way the paper says. And the government dictates the words within the paper. And they've hired 9 judges to sit around that agree with them on what the wording should say, other than what the freaking words say. How hard is it to read English? You know, unless you're a goddamn lawyer, I guess. Because when you become a lawyer, I guess you read English and understand that English is the fucking most horrible language that's ever been put out there. Because let's face it, it's the hardest one to learn. We got fucking one word spelt 3 different ways that means 3 different things. I mean, come on, man. Like, we're the most confusing assholes on the planet. We convolute shit more than we need to. And that's what we've done with our government, folks. We've convoluted it. We have convoluted ourselves thinking that we need all of this representation when there's no representation whatsoever. None. Prove me wrong. We've had people in, now, are there people in office, I think, that probably have, you know, with some education, could change the letter next to their name that sit in the Senate? Absolutely. Thomas Massey's one for, you know, he's not a true libertarian. He has a lot of libertarian views, you know. I mean, I'm even on that teeter-totter with a Justin Amash. You know, Justin's libertarian if you read his posts, but is he libertarian? I mean, I don't know. And case in point, when you got 1 out of 500 fucking people voices to voice all of our voices, folks, 1 of them out of 500 that's sitting in that fucking White House, 1 of them, that's all we had on our side. That's all we had on our side. We only have 1 voice for all of us. How is that? Like, any way fucking equally distributed amongst the people and their views. I spoke to a judge the other day. I had the unfortunate pleasure of being pulled over at Seligman on St. Patrick's Day because I was late picking my wife up. So I kind of came into town hot, and I knew it, and I said it to the cop as soon as he pulled over, but he said license, registration, insurance, and I said no, because I didn't have any of them. I, at the time, didn't possess any of those things. But he was really good to talk to. It was really cool to learn a bit about, like, you know, what our offenses are normally in town and how the town kind of makes a living, I guess, judicially. And the translation system that they have up, because we live right off the 40 and off 66. You got people from all around the world here. So, you know, it comes through, and I don't forget how many languages he says that they dictate out in tickets and whatever else. But as speaking to him and expressing my views and letting him know, well, I'm a registered libertarian and I plan on running libertarian. He says, yeah, and this is how he said it. Yeah, I'm registered Republican because that's, you know, what I had here. And you had the Libertarian Party. You could have found one, because in our county, all we need is 1 registered voter to sign a petition. That's the size of how many people we got. I only need 1 to sign a petition that says that I can run, or that they want me to run. And then that's 1 person. You can do it yourself if you're registered. You can sign your own damn name on there. You're a registered libertarian, you sign your name on there. You know, I find it better to find someone else. I mean, and I didn't even find my wife. I went outside that. I found someone else, you know, that's in the party, that knows me and knows what I stand for and what I plan on doing if I do plan on running. So you need 1 signature. That's all he needed. He didn't have to run Republican. But he says, listen, I agree with everything you're saying. Everything you're saying, I agree with. Well, the motherfucker put an L next to your name and start making changes. Don't just follow the fucking leader. Don't just follow the bouncing dot. You know, because that's what happens. Unfortunately, the ring of power, man, like, fucking needs to be chucked into Mordor. And I don't think, I'm hoping, I know 1 guy that'll do it. Actually, I know a couple guys that'll do it. But honestly, I'll just throw that ring of power into the fire and let that fucker melt. You know, bankrupt our government, run us through a bankruptcy, eliminate the position of President of the United States. So useless position. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, I can tell you right now, people go, well, we need all those federal things. Oh, we do? You need the FBI to spy on you and CIA to spy on you and all this stuff every day? You need that? You really want them knowing what color underwear you got? Because they can go through your camera if they really want to. And don't tell me they can't, because there's technology is bountiful, man. It's stupid that we think that we have these freedoms when at a drop of a dime they can take it all away from you just because they want to, not for any real legal reason or anything that you're doing harmful. Do you know how many people I know that are sitting in jail right now that are in jail for a completely victimless crime? Jeff Eichen, I'll throw him a plug today. If you haven't seen Lifers the movie, go to YouTube, I think, or lifersthemovie.com. Go to that. Please look at it. There are people sitting in prison, folks, for cannabis for life without the possibility of parole. Now, an intelligent mind would say that, well, cannabis has never killed anyone. There is not a documented death by animal or fucking human cannabis related. Can't kill you. Okay. So what can you do wrong? How could you harm somebody? You can't harm nobody. If there's no victim, there is no crime. And another thing that the LP stands behind and pushes, and the activist community should be jumping up and down again. Like I say, the activist community, if they would sit back and look at the Libertarian Party, would understand that they got a home, man. Make it happen. 60% of America wants this free, man. You got a home at the LP. You do, because it's the only party that wants to end the drug war. It's the only party that even speaks about jury nullification. It's the only party. When have you ever heard a Republican or a Democrat talk about jury nullification? They don't. They don't want you to know about it. But the Libertarian Party stands fast behind it. Why? Because if there's a fucking law that's bullshit and somebody has not committed a crime and there is no victim and something is morally within the rights of a human being, they should not spend the rest of their life or a day or a second or a minute or having harassed by the police or a time in prison. Let's be real. With how much we've given away and how much power we've given, we've relinquished everything. We don't own our bodies. Why? Because if you can't prove you're not vaccinated, then you can't do this. If you can't do that, fuck you. I mean, that's what I got on that. I don't have a big, long fucking speech. It's fuck you. This is me, man. I'm here not by my own free will, because my parents decided they wanted me here for a little bit of time. and now I'm on my own. Right? Isn't that life? But with that case in point comes the fact of the matter is that the Amish should be entitled to fucking live happily, live without fucking anybody interfering in my life. As long as I'm not hurting nobody. You know, I get amazed. Here's another thing, you guys, you know, that I can't never seem to get away from, is the fact that I moved off grid and out here in the desert. No complaints, what I wanted to do, because I didn't want people shit in my fucking business. And everybody out here has moved out here for the same goddamn reason, yet they can't keep their fucking nose in their own backyard. They can't. Now, if something's going wrong, yeah, we all watch out, don't get me wrong. If there's a fire, if there's gunshots, if there's coyotes, if there's a bear, if there's anything abnormal, yes, we do. We warn each other. That's what we should be doing. But worrying about everybody else's life out here when it ain't a part of yours and you can't live your own in a healthy fucking manner, don't fucking look in my backyard. Don't. Came out here to get away from that. I don't look in your backyard. I've got such a beautiful piece of property, and I have so much going on here that I'm creating, and I can look at and say that's tangible, and it's done by me, and I did that. And it's mine because I did that. I don't need to look anywhere else. You know, I said to Helen this morning, I can't wait till we have animals on property. I cannot wait till I'm raising sheep, raising chickens, raising cattle. I can't wait till I'm doing that because my garden will be going. I'll be able to eat. I'll have my own food source. I won't have to leave here. Why would I want to leave here, man? Honestly, why would I want to? I don't know why anybody would. You know, I mean, maybe for self-pleasure, maybe, you know, to see something like, you know, like I've been to all the rims of the canyon now. And I love the Grand Canyon. If you haven't seen the Grand Canyon, man, whoo, Lord have mercy, get out and see it. Before you pass away, I think everybody at the age of 50 years old should be given an RB and given the opportunity to go for 3 months. Fuck it, 4 months. Shit, 6 months. Let's make it a half a year at 50 years old to be able to celebrate the fact that they made it through without the government killing them, you know, and should be able to just go travel this country. It is one of the most beautiful things you could ever do for yourself. To finally understand why it's important that we keep it and keep it free. And because, man, I'll tell you what, there's so much land here that is so beautiful and untouched, man. And I still don't get why people live on top of each other. But hey, if you dig living in a city, you do. I get convenience, but that's all part of the problem, I think. And that's just a personal opinion. Nothing against anybody that lives in a city. Nobody against anybody that likes that convenience and likes shopping and all that other shit. That's good. I had a time that time in my life too. I really did. I truly did. I had a beautiful home in South Carolina, 30-foot porch off the screened-in porch off the back of my 130-foot piece of lakefront property with 2 boat ramps, a boat dock. Man, dude, I had it, you know. I did all that stupid shit. I was so fucking unhappy. Man, was I unhappy. I worked my ass off. That's all I did. Worked my ass off to have that, keep that, and pay Uncle Sam. All that. Now, man, I don't fucking have to work fucking much at all, man. Got my medicine line. I love my podcast. I like going out and speaking. I can't wait to get out in the political scene and really start to make a difference here. You know, that's basically what it's boiled down to. You know, if you're in Arizona, thank you for helping. I mean, we've got a great group of people here. I mean, I've got a great support system, no matter how I look at it. I've got incredible friends. I have a lot of like minds around me. And people that are ready for change. And after this last election, let's face it. We went from fucking shit to shitter, you know, and we didn't have good before. I thought it was shit before, but fucking goddamn are we in the hole now, man. This guy is going to kill us, folks, individually or in mass. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about you, man. He hasn't done a thing since he's been in office to prove he cares about you. Listen, I got 1 minute left. I want to thank you all for joining me this week, man. I know I'm long-winded. I know I love to talk and I jump around from subject to subject. But next week, cross our fingers, on Tuesday night, my wife will be joining me, where the 2 shows will merge and the voluntary option of Canada We Talk 420 will come to you live Tuesday nights on Free Speech Media. Guys, nugsofknowledge.com. Become an affiliate, man. Look on my page. There's affiliate stuff all up there. Plus, there's going to be a nug of knowledge. I believe there's a nug of knowledge promo code. If anybody has it, please zip it in there. Great hemp products, folks. I love it, man. I'm very happy. I actually got a bag of it right over there, but I don't feel like getting up because I got seconds to go. All right, peace to everyone. Pete Yapel, voluntary option. As they say every week, man, live the freedom which you choose to live. because that's the only way to really truly be free. Peace.